All right, this episode, I want to make sure you guys pay attention to this. This is about, are you part of the solution or part of the problem? So make sure you guys, if you aren't already subscribed to it, subscribe, hit the bell for notification, and let's get started with this podcast.
The Strength of America Podcast.
All right, welcome to SOApodcast, Strength of America Podcast, episode 34. Bob Davis.
Bobby Davis.
All right, so yeah, basic topic, what's going on? What we're seeing with different teams and things going on. We've got new coaches out there, everything from my Cornhuskers out there, different levels, all of the professional team with our Cardinals having troubles, all kinds of little ones going on. You've got to make sure the guys, you're buying into the program or you're not. Are you part of the solution? Are you guys uniting together? Or are you guys just kind of doing your own thing and not really being a part of it? And I think as a team, you got to understand this isn't individual. Wrestling is one thing. You still have team goals going out there. But boy, football, soccer, basketball, you guys are out there playing. And unless you buy into what the program is, and that doesn't mean just the coach on the sports thing, that's a training coach, the strength and conditioning coach, your nutritionist, whoever you're working with, you got to make sure you're all gelling and we're going after the same goals. And that's where some of the teams out there we're seeing are not. And that means, I think, not only on the field and what's going on at that game time, but what's going on preparing for it. I mean, what are some of the things you see, and what are your thoughts on this whole topic and what goes on with teams?
Yeah, I think as you liked and shared that video from Nebraska where they had that O-line guy talking about, just different things, of stuff going on. You can see belief in his coaching staff and his players, but frustration that, as they've come across their season, they're 0-2 so far, that, he feels that even with that score that, there's a lot more behind the scenes that he believes in, and he sees down the road that, hey, this is for the better. It may not look like it right now, but down the road it is. And I think it's very interesting that he spoke, and, he's not putting blame on other players, coaches, this and that. He's owning up to it and recognizing the process, but realizing that as he takes a step back, he's realizing that, there's guys that aren't fully bought into the process. My old high school coach, Coach D, used to talk about, you can have a cancer on the team, and if you have just one person that's that cancer, they will drag down that team. So you got to realize and make that known that, hey, if people aren't bought in, it's you got to hop on the bus, or you got to hop on the side, and you got to go a different way. We got to be all on the same bus, moving the same direction, going on the same path. If it's not like that, we got people straying here or there. It pulls the whole team back.
Well, I think that comes with part of figuring out leadership. Who's the leaders on the team and what you need to do. And that's the responsibility of those leaders to do it. However, I think some of the things we've talked about in the past, we saw this, I talked to Bobby about one of the things that frustrating stuff in school with the school is you got some seniors out there that think that, okay, they're the leaders because they're seniors. Well, we've had athletes before. I was telling the story of these athletes with the teams going on, and you've got seniors out there trying to do the thing. They're bossing things around. They understand what a leader is, but they're just bossing and telling other people what to do. However, their work ethic was crappy. They weren't doing what they needed to do, and we had to set up. So I said, as a sophomore can step up and go, because I've got some good, hard-working athletes out there. And, it may have been what we were talking about, and I don't think he caught it at the time we were, and his mom and I kind of laughed about it after I got off the phone talking to him about this, saying that we were actually talking about Bobby going into it, is those athletes going in that have got that hard work ethic, that are going into it and getting it done, they can step up. They don't have to be the senior to be a leader. A sophomore can step up and be that leader. So if you're that younger athlete on that team that's working their butt off, trying to do things, and the other ones aren't doing it, you step up and you talk to the teammates. You start getting them involved. Because what happened at that point with Bobby and that group is that they started seeing that, and the seniors realized, wow, maybe we're not putting it out there where we should be leading and getting in. They saw what was going on. Then they bought into the program. Then they started helping, and that whole team just rose and did a terrific job that year. So, and it was funny because like I said, he didn't catch on. That's what we were talking about, that he was the one that we were talking. But I've seen it on other teams as well. I've done it at Red Mountain at the high school, other teams going on to it. Baseball, it doesn't matter what the sport is. You guys have to work together and figure the way to go. And I know Nebraska, that's one of the things we counted on years ago, where the blue chip kids were out there, which is great, but we had those hard-working farm kids that just wanted to play for Nebraska and did everything they could to bust their butt. They worked in the weight room, they conditioned, they ate right, they did everything they needed to. And they ended up taking jobs from those blue chips, or would help those blue chips understand I got to pick up my steps, my game to be even better. So that's what we need to try and figure out is, you got to be unity. You got to work together and figure that out. You got to put personal differences aside. This is your team. This is your family. What do you do to make that better? And I know with the monsoons and things they've gone, and we've seen other teams, and we've seen it at Red Mountain, with Bobby's group, they would do different things to help community-based too. So it wasn't just what you're doing out there on the field. They coaches knew enough. Let's get them out. Let's do some things in the community. Let's get them working together on that. They got a greater bond for it. They were helping other people. And boy, their practices and everything stepped up. So that job of the coach to help understand what's going on, but the kids as well. You guys got to take this on yourself. I've never been a big believer it's somebody else's fault. I don't care what's going on. That's just never been a thing. My dad would stop me mid-sentence as soon as I said, well, somebody else, or, what about this person or this person? It wouldn't matter. You're dealt what you've got, make the best of it. And I know that's, can be hard. I know there's people that have great advantages, and there's others that don't have maybe both parents at home, or you don't have this. It doesn't matter. You have to find out. It wasn't your fault all those things happened, but what are you going to do to make it better? What are you going to do to make your team better and yourself as well?
Yeah, that's great. I heard a recent statement just this past weekend watching a movie, but it was, I believe it was Never Back Down, but the testament at the end going through, and basically the boxer coach, before kid went to his last fight at the tournament and he left back to Brazil to see his family and confront his family. He basically went through and said, control your situation. Whatever the outcome is, control your situation. And I think it's huge at the end of the day. Once these kids and different people can understand that, I can't control what a ref's doing, what my coach is doing, what these other places or people are doing, but I can control what I am doing in this situation at this given moment.
Yep.
If I can give my 100% in this moment, that not only helps you and the team, but that stuff starts to spread. We talk about a cancer pulling and sucking the life away, but there's also positives. I can be a positive influence, in my relentless pursuit of excellence, can spread to other people. They can get encouraged and they can get inspired, and they want to catch on and come with you on that ride. So,
True, and that's the same with excuses. We've talked about food and anything else. You know who's actually eating and doing what they need to do. Who's prepared when they get out there for practice. And if they get out to practice and that starts going, and halfway through warm-ups, they're already getting tired or they're getting sloppy. How many meals did you eat? How much protein did you get already? How much did you hydrate? What about your sleep the night before? If you're not doing that, you're not doing your part as a team. And, you're letting your teammates down. We're only as strong as our weakest link.
yeah.
So, don't be the weak link. Figure out who it is and step up. If they're not going to step up, move aside, let somebody else come into that spot. But you've got to do enough to say, okay, well, maybe I'm not the person, or I need to find a different position, or whatever it is, do it. We've had athletes on the team that say, you know what, I'm actually a better job. I love the sport and all that, but I'd rather be the manager and help out here, or do this, or I can be better used at other places to help. Do it. Whatever it is, doesn't matter. It's being a part of the team. Find your way, what you can do, and be better. But don't be the problem. Don't be the one out there that's making excuses. It's just never accepted on our end. Can't do it.
Yeah, that's great. And I think as we go back, and I think back at my experience at Red Mountain and just think about all that, it was like, man, I think the reason why I thrived and did so well, and why we thrived, was just we had that tight-knit community, family base. I coach and the staff and just my other teammates, where it was I look back on high school, and all those moments with high school wrestling just make me smile. They made such an impact on my life and who I am, and a lot of those people I still talk to this day. So it's awesome. It made the experience so much more fun, just creating that tight-knit community, that family, finding and building that buy-in just made the experience so much differently. And, it's great about that. Generally, when you have an experience and buy-in like that, maybe we're not state champs, but, we did pretty dang good. So we had good records and good seasons and stuff like that. And, winning at the end of the day makes it a lot more enjoyable. It's more of a positive experience. You're picking up a lot more as you keep winning. That means you're getting better as the season goes and as life goes by. So it's so much more enjoyable when you can start to set in and buy in. If you carry on those moments of allowing yourself to have those excuses and those different things come up, it negatively impacts you whether you recognize it or not. It starts to affect your conscience. It starts to affect everything else you do. It just bleeds into your life. So once you can start making those hard decisions to get rid of those bad habits, try to create a better routine, it just impacts you as a person. And, really once you get past that first initial and creating that routine, after you create that routine, it seems normal. It's so funny when people struggle with those habits and different things, and I understand that. But once you plow through that, you're like, this is normal now. Why did I think this was such an issue before? So it's big.
Yeah, just fighting any kind of change is hard for people to do it. But I think, again, it's just figuring out what it is. But evaluate yourself first. The one thing I want you to do when you take a look at this for your teammates and what you can do better is, rather than starting with a list of what the problems are, put what you're doing to contribute to that team to become better. Yourself, what are you doing to make yourself even better? Are you doing everything you could? You're eating, you're sleeping, you're hydrating, you're making sure you're always on early to practice. Like I said, on time, you're late. So are you early, ready to go when that time starts to go? Are you staying extra to do things afterwards? Work on all of your things, see if they're positive. Then you can start working on the other list of where you think you can make some changes or what are the problem. Because listing those doesn't mean they're excuses. You've got to look at both ends to see what's happening. You've got to look for problems to figure out some of the solutions as well, but look for the good as well. So make sure that's a big part of it, whether you're that coach, the kids, the athletes that are out there themselves. But it's important to start with what are you doing first to contribute and make it better, rather than, I don't like starting with all the negative stuff, because then to me you're just making a list of excuses and problems that are going on. Look at what yours is, and if your list isn't very big compared to what all the problems are, then maybe your list needs to be a little bit bigger on what you're doing to contribute. And that doesn't mean just you physically on your workouts, but what are you doing to help your teammate? What are you doing with that teammate that is a good athlete but isn't able to practice because of their grades and what's happening? Are you helping them with their grades to get up to it? What are you guys doing as a team to make you all better and to be that unity? I think it's important.
I think it's great. And as we're speaking to you guys and about this subject, don't think that we're up on some pedestal and we're doing things great. We have nails in our tire. We're
always learning.
We're always trying to fix things and assess. But I've realized,
I don't have as many as he does, but
tell him how much you sleep.
All right, here we go. Much better.
All right, anyways, but I'm finding that as I'm growing, I'm going into my 4th year coaching at this school and different things going on. I'm starting to learn. My higher level athletes, and by that I mean more of my seniors that have been in the program, or just any of my kids that have been in the program a little bit longer. Those are kids, I'm starting to ask them, how'd that warm-up feel? How are you feeling today? Did that make you feel a little bit better or no? And I'm trying to gauge off them. That way that, I can make sure I'm giving them what they need. I'm trying to, I think I know, but sometimes you got to ask, you got to talk, you got to have conversations. That way you can get some feedback to make it better. So I don't think you always know the answer. Don't think that you don't need to practice what you preach. Definitely do so, but just make sure you're aware, make sure you're assessing the situation, asking questions, and allow feedback. Don't get disgruntled by feedback, or don't have an emotional attachment to it. Okay, make sure that when you get feedback, assess it. If it wasn't good, okay, just get the feedback. Be collective, be in the moment, and then when you go and off on your own and assess it, say, I don't really think what they said was right. Okay, I'm going to toss that, set that to the side. But sometimes you're going to get some good stuff, okay, and then you're going to carry forward and get better for that. So just know that.
Yeah, keep pushing to get better.
Yeah.
Awesome. I appreciate you guys. Again, it's a topic we've seen with things going on with our Twitter page, other things going on to it, the Nebraska, following them, watching what's going on with the frustration with the Cardinals and new systems. I think, it's time to step back and look at things, because it's real easy as we see things, you're blaming people, everybody what's going on, but to look inside and what you can do to become better, I think that's key. So appreciate it. Put any comments you have down below, what kind of things you're doing, what goals you have, what you do on your team, whether you're the coach or the athlete. Because again, other people are thinking the same thing. So let us know about what's going on there. Again, make sure you're subscribed, make sure you hit the bell for notifications. And again, you have until the end of October for our football players for our 30-day football speed program. We've got a video program out there for you. We're getting great response on it. But after October 31st, we're going to start charging for it. So right now it's a free program. You can get access to it. We'll give you the code. And so let your teammates know, your tag, all that. I'll have the link in there. And we'll see you this next week. Look for our regular videos we've got on the YouTube page as well. And we'll be throwing some out on Instagram as well.
Yeah, just question yourself and see what you can do today to be more.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks.
See ya.